jack it up. thanks for making it this far in the video. So don't forget to subscribe down below and also hit that like button. All right, so time to talk about the build. All right, so the ship is coming along. Not too bad, but we did do a few things off camera. It felt like it was a little too tedious to be recording it. So I built out most of the thrusters on one side. I did work on the other side as well. Not the greatest look just yet, but we're getting there. It's a work in progress still. And I don't even know if this is enough thrusters to kind of get us out there. But the main focus of today's video, or a time lapse, was the docking system that I was talking about early on in the previous episode, or episodes ago. And that is when we decided to split a certain portion of the ship to open up. And it did work before, but there's a chance that's not going to work now. It seems like every time I load the game, it varies. So let's try to open it up if we can. Okay, it's working now. Didn't work on the previous time. But as you see here, this is how it opens up. So this is where all the docking is going to be for our small grid drones. And I put a little drill ship here, just kind of put in there for an example. But the only thing I didn't like about it is that this is not flush, which is fine. Not the biggest deal in the world. But we did make some clearance for the thrusters right over here too. So that's perfect. And a lot of piping and connectors for the drones to dock into. And ultimately, they go into these connectors here that will feed into a cargo container or something similar to that. And also feeds into these turrets up here. Not necessarily these two just yet, but eventually. So the weapons are just placeholders. I don't think I'm going to keep them there. But yeah, it seems to be working out okay now. But I don't know. It kind of varies sometimes for some reason. So this is when we close it on one side. You'll see that the connectors here and here will get together. And they will lock in when we basically tell it to. We could do it automatically, but for now I left it all manual. And none of these actually have strength in terms of the magnetism part. But this connects to the top opening door or hatch. This will connect over here with a pipe that's going to go down there eventually. Right over here as well. So then we have everything plumbed up, and that'll be perfect for the turrets and refueling and everything like that for our little drone ships in essence. But yeah, so what I did here, it was a little bit hard to see because it's very detailed out in terms of the time lapse. But basically, at first I was playing around with different variations of where the hinges should be. And this is all heavy armor, so that's why we need multiple hinges to kind of keep it up. So we have 4 total hinges in this kind of design, which still doesn't look too bad, but it's not going to be airtight. Not a big deal. That's not airtight because it's mostly going to be our little ships and drones anyways. They don't need oxygen, so they should be more than fine. And it looks a little more flush this way. In the time lapse itself, I had a little bit of a hole here in this section right over here, this slant, or there's some kind of like half slope panels, and that kind of helped it not get stuck. But for now, it doesn't look stuck. But when I did a thumbnail of this thing without it being on the station, like I cut the umbilical cord off this thing, it didn't really want to open unless I increased the torque, which wasn't a terrible thing. But I think I might run into that issue once I do cut the umbilical cord off this baby. But yeah, other than that, I secured this with panels for now. It's just kind of under construction type of thing, but you could scroll it on top and over because this is where it is going to be airtight right over here, and it's still a lot of room, a lot of room to work with. So luckily that is still the case. We got some hydrogen tanks going into the nacelles with the hydrogen thrusters. We have a hydrogen thruster going upwards as well right here, and some back here we didn't connect just yet. This is the side one, and then we got to find a way to go make some ladders and everything to go upwards. So it's a huge build. There's lots and lots of rooms here. We technically don't need all this space, to be honest. So much of it may be empty space, and I'll just add them in later down the line if I need to. And back here is where there's a ton of thrusters to go forward. So you have 6 of these ion thrusters, 3 on each side, 2 hydrogen thrusters right here. I might add more down here in the nacelles, the wing system, because there's room for it. But the only thing I didn't like was actually having to put a conveyor right over here in between this half block section here. So that connects to a conveyor into up here somewhere. That connects to this hydrogen thruster and the one in the back. So we kind of had to do it because there's no other way to do it. There's no slant conveyor system, so we couldn't do a slant. I would prefer to do without this, so we have only this holding it up, which that means we would only have ion thrusters there, or individual tanks that needs to be filled up per nacelle, which that would be a bit of a headache. So maybe not do that. Or potentially what it can do maybe is a piston system that comes out here and do a connecting point. Potentially that would be okay. This might actually be long enough for one piston as well. So if we had a connector point right over here, we can fill it up top. But the problem is we won't be able to fill up down here unless we do multiple points of pistons. So like one over here, one over here, where these meet up, and do the piston connectors there to fill up the nacelles with hydrogen with their individual tanks. I guess we could do that. That would be an interesting way of doing it. Because I do prefer it to be not necessarily connected like this with this random thing in the middle. I liked it better when I had like one block on this side, one block on that side. If we just get rid of the blocks, it just looks kind of off. And having just this thing in the middle looks very off. So I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to cut this right here. Throw in some kind of piston system so that we can have it kind of fill up the system whenever it needs to. So one of them could be doing a connector to the downward section, and this connector with the piston should be on the upward section, and put their own little tanks in there, because there is tons and tons of room in here. As you see, a lot of this is fairly empty because these are big old nacelles and we have not much to put in there. And we should probably just line it up with thrusters instead of doing just the grouping of 2 hydrogen, 3 ion thrusters in this case. We could probably do 4 here, even put more here. We don't need those blocks there. This should just be a whole line of them anyways. So I was just being cheap on them for no reason, just for added design. We also did a little bit more thrusters over here, although it kind of does look like it's going to burn out this. It's not. It's too far away from it. But it's never a good look when you have a thruster facing something that could burn. But I think we should be okay. I mean, if anything, I'll put a hole in here. It shouldn't be that bad. A little bit of side thrusting here. Got the 2 large ion thrusters, 1 large hydrogen thruster here. Just to give it a little more kick when we side thrust. Because we do have a few right here in this nacelle, but that's just very dependent on this nacelle. If this nacelle gets knocked off, at least we could depend on some of this and some of that. So it's a lot of like repeats and adding as much thrust as possible, because if we get shot down, we have backups to take care of it. The nacelle kind of stayed the same as last time. You have the ion thruster there, 2 big ones, 3 small ones, 3 hydrogen thrusters on top and bottom. We have the large one right there. And then we have our backwards right here. So we did alter it a little bit. We had an ion thruster right over here at one point. Got rid of that. So 2 ion thrusters, 1 hydrogen thruster, large ones. And then the small ones that linked here. And I got rid of one of the hydrogen thruster here where it's supposed to be a pair, because there's a little bit of a blockage here. So I put in an ion thruster instead of a hydrogen thruster. And of course, we added this little extra bit. 2 large ion thrusters back to back, kind of slanted together like that. That may or may not burn, I don't know. We have one that's going upwards, and we also have one that's going downwards. So a nice little bit of coverage there. And I've just been playing around with the general plastic, I think plastic, white color. Always my go-to color to start building anything. And then I started using this gold skin, which looks pretty cool. But then we also am kind of matching Factorum, which is kind of odd too. So we do need to kind of change that up. But yeah, we're planning to add a whole bunch of weaponry up here. And this platform is huge. I mean, just slapping on what we have here. 6 turrets. And it looks like they're little ants on this thing, kind of. So we got to find a lot of placements in terms of like connectors conveyors, maybe even car containers, all around the underside here. So we could put more turrets. On the side over here too, we could put a bunch of turrets. Just for a large iron thruster, probably not going to burn too far. I think it was a 6 block limit, so it might be right around here. So we got more than ample room to put in a bunch of turrets. And the turrets could be like up here and space it out. All right. Can we space it out like this? No, we can't. But that's not going to space out correctly because it needs to have a bit of a 3x3 square in order for it to work. So we could stagger them. So one could be here and then one could be like here kind of situation. But we do plan to put in a bunch of assault cannons, artillery cannons, and turrets, and also Gatling turrets on very more strategic places. So then we can use that to target anything that gets in our way, basically. Most of it is going to be on top and the side. Bottom half, we may put stuff. Maybe, maybe not. I think we should. Not much sure if we're going to put any on the nacelles or wings. Depends if we get some cargo containers and plumbing done, then maybe. There's more room here to do it, although we could put some downward thrust here as well. And of course, lastly, we have a bit of thrusters going upwards, and it's encased like this. That's the one that's directly on the tanks. So it adds a little bit of a look to it right there. It's not too crazy, but I think I should change the color scheme. So right now it's a white, a gold with a little bit of a gray down here. Another thing I was thinking of is when I do extend these doors or hangers, I wanted this to retract. So there is a way to do it. It's going to be a really tedious thing to do, but basically we got to cut it somewhere where we have some pistons to kind of hide it and slide this piece underneath here somehow. Slide it underneath right here where the white blocks are, and this goes inside in between there as well. So it's a possibility. I don't think I'm going to do that. It definitely look pretty cool, but the whole ship is already taking way too much time off my hands. And the only thing that's really unfortunate is this whole docking station is not going to be airtight and it's not going to merge. At first, I was trying to merge it, but it looks like it's going to be a little bit hard to do some merging. I know there's a way to do it, but design-wise, it might not look great. I might tinker with it a little bit more, but merging it makes it a little more difficult to have certain blocks here. That's why I did some slope blocks here, but these blocks I couldn't really figure out if there's any good blocks that does something similar to a slope block, where if you do merge a ship from a slope block to a regular block or even another slope block, it's not going to merge in together. So merging it doesn't work that way. Merging it on a hinge doesn't work as well either, especially when you detach it. It's not going to work. So the best thing to do is either a combination of a piston and hinge, rotor hinge type of deal, or hinge to rotor. I think it's very specific. That's kind of the only real way to get that all merged in correctly nowadays, I believe, unless that's changed. Maybe I'll experiment again on it since we've done it before and it worked, but not anymore, I guess, potentially. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the time lapse. Hope you guys enjoyed this random opening docking system, which makes the ship look pretty cool. I mean, maybe I could just leave it open like this instead of have it on a hinge and everything like that, because practically if it gets into battle, even against a Factorum warship, and it shoots these hinges, goodbye to this whole entire door. So potentially we leave it open or keep it closed. I don't know. You can decide if you like. Just leave a comment down below, like always, and that'll let me know what I should do in your opinion. But of course, if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Don't forget to comment down below, even to say hi. And of course, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.